Billionaire, shocked after his black maid slapped him to reveal what everyone was hiding. The sound of the slap echoed through the marble halls like thunder. Everyone stopped. The maids, the guards, even the chef holding a silver tray froze. No one could believe what had just happened. The billionaire's cheek turned red instantly. His gold wristwatch gleamed under the chandelier as his hand slowly rose to touch the spot where a palm had landed. His eyes widened, not in anger, but in pure shock. The black maid stood there, breathing fast, her hands trembling. But her eyes, her eyes, were filled with fire, the same fire she had tried to hide for months. "You had to hear the truth," she said in a low, shaking voice, "because no one else here has the courage to tell you." For a moment, silence swallowed the entire mansion. The billionaire's lips parted as if to speak, but no sound came out. His guests, seated around the long dining table, exchanged nervous glances. One of them whispered, "She's finished," but she didn't move. She didn't bow. She didn't apologize. Instead, she reached into her pocket and placed a small folded note on the shiny floor between them. "Read it," she said. "Then you'll understand why I did this." The billionaire stared at her, confusion and disbelief mixing in his eyes. He had built empires, fired presidents, and crushed rivals. But in all his life, no one, not even the board of directors, had dared raise their voice at him. Now, a maid had just slapped him in front of everyone. And somehow, he didn't feel angry. He felt afraid. The butler took a nervous step forward, ready to drag her away. But the billionaire raised his hand to stop him. His voice came out cold and curious. "Leave her. I want to hear what she has to say." The maid's lips trembled as she whispered, "Then listen closely, sir, because the truth inside this house could destroy you." The lights flickered for a moment. The air felt heavy. And everyone knew something dark was about to be uncovered. The folded note lay on the marble floor, like a small bomb waiting to explode. The billionaire bent down slowly, his gold cufflinks glinting in the light. He picked up the note with steady hands, but inside, something twisted in his chest. It was a strange feeling. He wasn't used to being challenged. Not here, not in his own mansion. All eyes followed his every move. The chef's hand shook so badly that a silver spoon slipped from the tray and hit the floor with sharp cling. The guards at the door exchanged tense looks. No one dared to breathe too loudly. He unfolded the note. Just a few words were written, but they were enough to make his pupils tighten. His heart gave a single, heavy thump. The maid, still standing firm, whispered, "Now you understand why I had no choice." But he didn't answer. Instead, his mind went back to the quiet things he had ignored, the odd way his staff avoided his gaze, the sudden hush that always filled the air whenever he walked into a room, the look in their eyes, not respect, not fear of power, something colder, something heavier. "They've been hiding something from me." He folded the note again and looked up at her. "Who else knows?" he asked, his voice low, dangerous but calm. "Everyone," she replied. Her voice no longer trembled. "Everyone except you." The billionaire's jaw tightened. A single word from him could end her job, her life inside these golden walls. But instead of rage, something else filled the space between them, an icy silence that made the chandeliers above sway ever so slightly. The butler cleared his throat nervously. "Sir, perhaps we should remove her from the—" "Don't touch her," the billionaire snapped, eyes never leaving the maid. She took a deep breath, then added softly, "You built this house, but you don't even know what's happening inside it." That single sentence hit harder than the slap. The guards shifted uncomfortably. One of the older maids lowered her head, as if afraid her eyes might give something away. And somewhere in a corner, the head housekeeper wiped a tear she thought no one saw. The billionaire's grip tightened around the note. A storm was building inside him. "Tell me everything," he ordered. The maid's eyes flicked to the dining table, then to the grand staircase, as if checking who was listening. Her voice dropped to a whisper. "I can't say it here. If I do, someone in this room might not make it through the night." A collective shiver ran through the mansion. The guests sitting around the table stiffened. One of them reached for a glass of wine with shaky fingers. The billionaire slowly stood up from his chair. His shadow stretched long and dark across the floor. "Then we talk somewhere no one can hear," he said. She nodded once. As they walked toward the secret elevator at the back of the hall, the entire mansion watched in fear. Everyone knew something was about to be uncovered, but no one, not even the billionaire, was ready for what she was about to reveal. The elevator doors slid shut with a soft hiss. Inside there was silence, thick, heavy, and almost painful. The billionaire stood tall, hand behind his back, staring straight ahead. The maid stood beside him, her reflection trembling slightly in the steel doors. He finally spoke. "You got 30 seconds to tell me what I'm about to hear isn't a lie." Her eyes met his. "I wish it was." The elevator began to move, not up, but down, past the first floor, past the basement. The numbers blinked red. -1, -2, -3. The billionaire frowned. "Where are we going?" Her voice was quiet. "To the place you've never seen. But it's yours." The elevator stopped. A metallic ding. The doors opened to a dim hallway lined with cold gray walls. The air smelled of rust and old secrets. A single light flickered above them. The billionaire stepped out slowly, his footsteps echoing on the concrete floor. "I didn't build this." "No," she said. "You didn't, but your name paid for it." He turned sharply toward her. "Explain." The maid pointed to a heavy steel door at the end of the hallway. "Everything you've been told, the reports, the bills, the donations, it's all fake. The people who work for you have been lying for years." The billionaire's voice dropped to a dangerous whisper. "Lying about what?" She hesitated. "About who really runs this house." For a moment, he thought she was joking. But then she reached into her apron pocket and pulled out a small, black access card. It had his company's logo printed on it, but the name below wasn't his. He stared at it. "That's impossible." She swiped the card through the steel door. The lock clicked open. The door creaked slowly, revealing a large underground room filled with computer screens, files, and surveillance footage of him. Dozens of screens showed every corner of the mansion, his office, his bedroom, even the private garden where he thought he was alone. His pulse quickened. "What is this?" The maid stepped inside. "The truth everyone has been afraid to tell you. You're not the one in control, sir. Someone else is." The billionaire's chest tightened. "Who?" Before she could answer, one of the monitors flickered. A shadowy figure appeared on the screen, watching them. Then a distorted voice echoed through hidden speakers. "I warned you not to tell him." The lights went out. The billionaire turned toward the maid, but she was already gone, and in the darkness he heard slow, heavy footsteps approaching. The billionaire froze. He could hear the footsteps getting closer, measured, calm, and echoing through the pitch-black room. The sound bounced off the metal walls, making it impossible to tell where it came from. "Who's there?" he barked, his voice trembling slightly despite his effort to sound strong. No answer, only the faint hum of machines restarting somewhere in the shadows. He pulled out his phone to use the flashlight. The white beam cut to the darkness, revealing overturned chairs, open folders, and one thing that made his stomach twist, a photograph of him shaking hands with a man he didn't recognize. Beneath it, the words "a real owner" were scribbled in red ink. "What is this?" he muttered under his breath. Then he saw movement at the corner of his light. The maid. She was crouched behind one of the desks, breathing hard, clutching her arm. Her sleeve was torn, and a thin line of blood ran down her wrist. "You shouldn't have come down here," she whispered. "I could say the same about you," he said, helping her stand. "Who's that voice?" She shook her head quickly. "He's been watching all of us. Every camera, every phone, every message. You thought you were in charge, but he controls everything that happens inside these walls." The billionaire's heart pounded. "You're saying someone else owns me?" Her voice cracked. "No, he owns your fear. And that's how he controls you." Before he could respond, the room's main screen flickered back to life. The same shadowed figure appeared again. Tall, still, face hidden behind static. "I built this mansion for you," the voice said, low and distorted. But you forgot one thing: loyalty has a price. The billionaire clenched his fists. Show yourself. I already have, the voice replied calmly. The maid's eyes widened. He's inside the mansion. Right then, the elevator dinged in the distance. Someone else had come down. The sound of boots echoed against the floor, heavy, deliberate, getting louder. The maid whispered, "We need to go. Now." But before they could move, the lights blazed back on. Standing at the doorway was the butler, the same man who had served the billionaire for over 15 years. His face was calm, his posture straight, but in his hand was a small remote control with a red button. "Sir," the butler said softly, "you shouldn't have found this place." The billionaire's blood ran cold. "It was you?" The butler smiled faintly. "I warned everyone never to tell you. But he glanced at the maid. "She didn't listen." The maid stepped in front of the billionaire, shielding him. "You lied to him. You've been using his money for things he doesn't even know about." The butler's smile faded. "And that's exactly how it was meant to be." He raised his thumb over the red button. "You should have never opened that door." The maid's eyes widened. "No, don't." He pressed it. A loud click echoed through the room, followed by a low rumble beneath their feet. The floor started to shake. "Run!" she shouted. The billionaire grabbed her arm as the lights exploded in sparks, alarms blaring. The monitors shattered one by one as smoke began to fill the air. And above the chaos, that same distorted voice whispered through every speaker. "You can't hide from the truth anymore." Smoke rolled through the underground room, thick and choking. The billionaire coughed as he pulled the maid toward the elevator, the alarm screaming all around them. "Faster!" she shouted, her voice breaking over the noise. But when they reached the elevator doors, they wouldn't open. The lights above had gone dead, and the button flashed a single red warning: lockdown activated. The billionaire slammed his fist against the metal. "There has to be another way out." The maid turned, scanning the dark corridor. Through the haze, she spotted a narrow service tunnel behind a broken panel. "There!" she cried. They crawled through the tunnel, heat pressing in from all sides. The air smelled of burning wires and oil. Every rumble shook the walls, making dust fall from above. The billionaire's once immaculate suit was torn and blackened, his cufflinks gone. The man who used to command hundreds now crawled in the dirt beside a maid. Finally, they reached a metal hatch. The maid pushed it open with all her strength, and they emerged into a hidden courtyard behind the mansion. Cool night air rushed over them like a blessing. The billionaire fell to his knees, gasping. What was this place? She didn't answer right away. Her hands trembled as she pointed back at the mansion. "That basement was built with your money, but not for you." He turned to her, eyes desperate. "Then who?" The maid's lips quivered. "The people you trust most, your advisors, your guards, even your butler, they've been using your fortune to fund things you never approved. They turned your home into a control center. For them, not for you." He stared at her in disbelief. "You're saying my entire staff?" "Yes," she cut in, tears streaking down her cheeks. "They've been working for someone else all along." The billionaire's mind spun. All the loyalty he had bought with wealth, all fake. His world, built on power, was nothing but sand. The maid knelt in front of him, gripping his hand. "I slapped you because I needed you to see. Everyone feared you too much to tell the truth. But I couldn't watch them destroy you anymore." He looked at her, really looked at her, for the first time, not as a servant, but as the only person who had dared stand for the truth. "Then who is behind all this?" he asked. The maid hesitated. "The voice you heard, the man who built that room, is someone you trusted more than anyone else." The billionaire's heart froze. "Who?" She took a deep breath, her voice barely a whisper. "Your own brother." The world seemed to stop. For a moment, even the wind went silent. He stumbled to his feet, shaking his head. "That's not possible. He's been dead for 10 years. Her eyes glistened. "No, sir, he's not dead. He's been watching you, waiting for this moment." Before he could respond, a sound broke the silence. A low hum of an engine. Headlights pierced through the dark trees as a black car rolled up the driveway toward them. The maid's voice trembled. He knows we found out. The billionaire turned toward the approaching car, his jaw tight, his pulse racing. The door opened slowly. A tall figure stepped out, face hidden under a shadow. And then, in a voice calm and cold, the man said, "Brother, you finally found my secret." The billionaire's eyes widened in disbelief.